Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Tin Man's Court Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reading another Sasquatch encounter out of the They Saw Sasquatch Close Encounters of Bigfoot book by Gary and Wendy Swanson. This encounter takes place near Jeffrey Pine Loop in September 2004. And before I get into the story of the person that wrote it, here's a picture of some trees and scenery in that area. So without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Hi, we have your book, and when we saw your note on the Sasquatch Watch page for stories for another book, my wife wanted me to tell you about our personal experience. That's a good wife. Some people will be like, no, don't tell it because people might mock you. But if she ain't afraid to go forward, then follow her lead. It happened back in late September 2004 on the $8 road about where you described the Jeffrey Pine Loop. But I don't remember that even being there. We had been as far as the bridge and then drove back toward the highway and decided it would be fun to walk down the hill to the Illinois River. With the road on one side and the river on the other, my wife was comfortable that I wouldn't get us lost like I've done before. Anyway, we parked on a short cutoff that was just off the road and found a deer trail down the slope toward the river. When we got to the river, there was a well-used trail that went both ways. We decided to turn left because that part seemed less traveled and it curved farther away from the road, so we hoped to see some deer or a coyote. We were walking quiet like and not talking when we heard a splashing sound that we both thought was just the rapids. But then it stopped, and a minute later it started up again. All of a sudden, off to our right, there was a big brown bear crossing the river, but it turned out it wasn't. It was the top of a critter that looked like a big hairy ape, but it wasn't walking on the bottom of the river. And when it came out, it was on 2 feet. It looked back at us. It made a loud kind of wolf sound. I did hear stories where people said that they make barking noises like wolf or a dog just to imitate them. So if you're out in the woods and you heard that, you'll probably think it's one of those dog species, but it ain't. It may be a Bigfoot trying to imitate them, just to distract you, basically. Only it did it 3 or 4 times in a row. Its face, as we could see, looked kind of like an old, wrinkly man with big ears, but it only looked at us for a minute, and we were about 200 feet away. Then it hit shore and headed around the curve, but there wasn't much brush, just real short stuff, so we must have seen it for another couple of minutes. It glanced back once and then again, and then it kind of shook its arms like it was mad. And my wife said she thought it looked like steam or spit came out of its mouth, but the river noise covered any sound. Then it just jumped about a foot with both feet in the air and stomped down like a person when they are real mad, and then the darn thing jumped over a log and disappeared. It's hard to judge how big it was because the river was too deep for us to wade. Not that you could have paid us to do it anyway, but we think maybe 6 feet tall. My wife called the forestry office when we got home, but they just seemed like it was a normal thing, so outside of a few friends, we just let it be until we saw your note. We look forward to seeing our story in your new book. Please send it to the enclosed address, but we prefer our names to be kept private. And the anonymous couple is from Grant Pass, Oregon. And here's a picture of the river that they were describing. So they're saying that is 6 feet deep? Golly. So that sucker had to be at least 7 foot tall just to stand out of it, splash down in the water hard. Yeah, I believe it when you call Forestry Service, they'll probably think, oh, it's just another coincidence that we get reported all the time. So they probably get a lot of Bigfoot reports, and they can't do nothing about it, only just say it's like an endangered species. But thankfully that Bigfoot did not decide to go towards them and attack them. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more book reading content like this. This has been another successful installment of the Tin Man's Quarter channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day.